Well, hi there, Winning Ways fans, and welcome to another show where we're going to have Ted Hughes part 2. Now, we got a lot of very positive response about a man who's passionate about racing, and he really loved being on the show and would love telling us about his life and where he's going and what he's doing. And it was most interesting. Please subscribe to our show on the YouTube channel.
Nothing.
It costs nothing to subscribe.
Yeah.
Just subscribe. And then you press the notification, the bell notification. You'll get, every day we do a preview on the races. We're going to do some interviews this week. We're putting together some interviews, which we're going to put up 10-minute little interviews, which you'll be able to watch. They're going to be about points that are interesting in racing, and I'm sure you'll find them interesting. But nice that you're here today with no broken ankle.
Yeah, phew, how was that for an unlucky freak accident on Gomez, you know?
Yeah.
Got poor old Song, the red card, which should never been a red card, but he was distraught, you know, and so was Aurea.
Yeah.
And I see the boss took Aurea off soon after that, you know. But it got them right back into the game. Two poor sides,
Yeah.
poor game, even with Kane missing. Spurs, my beloved Spurs, who've got plenty of supporters around the country, have to take a back seat and say, his Poch's time's up. Since January, we haven't won a game away from home, Jim.
So he's going.
No, I wouldn't say he's going. You know, Bayern Munich has come up. You know, they're fine. Munich got beat 5-1 of the weekend. They fired their boss. So now they're saying Jose Mourinho is favourite for that. But Arsenal's, Jose's name's come up with your beloved
Please
Arsenal.
don't let Jose Mourinho. Please, Bayern Munich, you can have him. I don't want Jose Mourinho.
Well, that's the talking points at the moment. But again, if you follow British
I can't
football,
support Arsenal.
are you still in the last one standing?
Yes,
Who did you go through with?
with the two top teams. They were both down at half time. They both look like they're in terrible trouble.
Gee.
Man United.
How did Liverpool come
Man
back?
City and Liverpool, they both came back.
They both came back.
That's what championship sides are all about.
All champions.
All champions come back and
Yeah.
fight to the death. And
Like
the
the
Springboks,
Springboks.
well, that's the whole show should be about the Springboks. They were fantastic. And I wanted to say at the outset, I thought that the English would be too powerful, too strong, and too clever for them. Well, it turned out to be exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
Rassie obviously decided, and you could see it in the first 10 minutes, we're not kicking the ball for the first 10 minutes. We're just going to run at them.
Yeah.
Now, suddenly these English who expected the ball to be kicked at them, and you've got John Mitchell training them,
The big defence.
and Eddie, they both know the Springboks backwards.
Yes.
Suddenly Rassie came with a game plan that absolutely flummoxed him. And that was it.
Yeah,
that
we were
was the
always
end.
in control. Always
From
in
then
control.
on, the scrums were in
Took them 20 minutes to get 3 points, England.
Yeah.
They were always in the back foot. They, I think 22nd minute they made it 3-all. So I was extremely proud of them.
Me
It was
too.
a fantastic day for the country, fantastic day for me. I felt brilliant when they won. Because, as you know, my wife and daughters live in the
England.
UK, and I've got so many friends that are English, and I didn't send one of them a text afterwards, but some of them sent me texts and say, we were smashed, we weren't good enough, that's how it goes. But wonderful, wonderful achievement. I had my doubts, and I'm so chuffed they won.
Well, not only did we win, now we ended up winning the team of the year, the rugby the
Player of the year.
And we're the first team ever to have won the rugby championship and the World Cup.
Yeah, in the same year.
But the most interesting thing of anything for me was that the two World Cup players that died during the year, James Small and Chester Williams, were number 11 and number 14.
Yeah.
And they were the two numbers that went over the try line to score, 11 and 14.
Yeah, they're very
It's
strange.
just surreal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Rassie Erasmus, from the days of the Free State, you remember he had the
lights,
on
lights
the
on the
top
roof.
of the stand.
Yeah.
He's a genius.
Well, he
showed
certainly proved it. If they knighted people, he'd be knighted. James, but also was the first. We never lost a final.
Yeah.
We've first team to lose a match and go on and win the World Cup. There were so many records we broke, you know.
We've never let through a try in the final.
Faf went 4 months without a haircut. You know, these important things.
There's a lot of things that's very important.
Who told him long hair looks good on him? Did you see him with the Springbok speed?
I want my long hair too.
yours must
all
come
made
back.
me cut my hair. I mean, look what I look like.
Shocking.
It's
Shocking.
pathetic. There we are, the champions on the backboard, and we couldn't have had a better weekend because there was a lot of very good racing. And we started off, we go to Champions Day at Turfentine, where they ran the Charity Mile, which is always a fabulous event. And we picked up a couple of horses you should follow. Let's go and have a look at these two and see what you think.
Yeah, the first one we've picked up is called Corvette Captain. It runs second to the stablemate Prince Evelinoff. And 1, 2, 3 for Jared Verners and his father Lawrence. Well done to them. This horse runs a very good race, I thought. There was a lot of talk about Terry's horse, but Sean had urged caution because of all the rain that came. A horse called Bergerac with Pierre Stradamon. He runs a fair race. He's got the white face and the Fanica colours just off them. But the race unfolds nicely. And for a Strider too, I thought Corvette Captain looks a very smart horse, was going to win it. But as I say, James, was a big race for the Werners.
Well, Lawrence and Jared and their team have done incredibly well, and Janssen van Vuren ran second and third here.
Yes.
Alec Laird's horse was the one that won. But this is a good field. I think you'll find that some good horses will come out of this. I think Bergerac will improve a lot.
Yes.
I think you'll find both the second and third horses will improve. And there's certainly the top 5 or 6 look like they've got chances.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because I remember Sean Terry saying he had planned a 5 furlong, that had changed it to a 6, and then the heavens opened. So keep an eye on the 5th horse, but very good start. And the horse that we found here, Jim, has got to go on the short list. Okay,
then we move on and we have a look at the second race on the day, which will also at 1200, slightly slower time. And Johan Janssen van Vuren, Argentine horse, Mohican, by Campanologist. This is a very nice horse. He ran a cracking barrier trial.
Yes.
And I thought that he was terribly unlucky here. I thought maybe Chase went a little early on him. He should have waited till he had company to be able to go with that horse of Mike de Cox. But I suppose jockeys, they make a split-second decision. He had them cold. He thought, let me go and win the race. But he seemed to run around a bit. Let's go and find out how he ran. Let's go and pick him up in Green Street colours.
Green Street colours. And nice to see this Argentinian horse. As you say, the barrier trial, it looked a smart horse. I watched him go, and he looks a very smart horse. He was beaten. Again, as you say, Chase was really excited. But I think the key to this race is, Jim, the winner is a useful horse too. That's a horse called Alamira. It's a Schnitzel.
Second.
It's a Schnitzel. But what I think, as you'll see in the Green Street colours, which is the green cap, just about leading them now. The winner's in the striped blue down the middle of the course. But this horse here, Jim, when it hits the front, look how green it is. Have a look at its head.
Yeah. It now gets to the front, and it doesn't really know what to do. He's still on the bridle, and the other horse is starting to get shoved along that ended up beating him.
Yes.
And he's cantering in front, but he gets there, and now his head's one side, and it's like he doesn't know that he's got to go on and win the race.
He's never seen this edifice before.
Yeah.
And here Chase is saying, come on, keep rolling. You've travelled here easily, but Michael's horse comes home well. And as I say, James, I think both these horses are going to be all right.
Yeah, well, Schnitzel, Campanologist, we're so lucky to have these type of horses in this country. The people are bringing them into this country still, spending money, time and effort going to Australia and Argentina and finding horses. And really wonderful to have them. And thank you to these guys that spend their hard-earned cash going and doing this. There are a lot of races and a lot of news. First bit of news I want to tell you is Jaden Lloyd rode his first double last week.
That's good. He's getting into it quickly.
Oh, he's making Jeff look like a beginner. I mean, it just shows you how quickly he's got out the trap. I suppose Jeff's in the background telling him what to do and helping him.
I remember speaking when Jeff came out here to ride in the Vodacom. I had a chat with Jeff and I said, how's your son coming along? And he said, I don't know, he's battling with his chords. You've got to get his chords right. I thought he was talking about his pants.
Yeah.
But he was talking about coordination. And I thought, sure. He said, he just hasn't got it yet. I've been down to the academy, put him on the horse.
They wear a lot of chords in Australia.
Wear a lot of chords, So once they get the chords right, they can go on. And it seems like his son's picked it up, because I met the son years ago at a Magic Million sale, and he knew every single horse in the race. He's a form follower of the highest order.
Yeah. Talking about form.
Yes.
Form grids.
Yes.
Back up.
Is that David? David
Safi, back up.
Fantastic. I was always on form grids.
Well, it's the greatest site ever. And they got hijacked. Okay?
Yeah.
And what happened to them was a crying shame,
Yeah.
okay, to start with, and really, really unfair.
Yeah.
Because some of the powers that be wouldn't give them the information.
That's right.
Michel Narek got to get the pat on the back. He's stepped forward and organised them with the information they need. And I think it's the best thing for racing. If you want to go out there and look up your form, as we used to do, that's the greatest form tool there is, form grids.
Gave you everything, gave you pedigree, ownership, gave you the complete rundown on
And
a
you
horse.
could do, the best part about it was that you could do comparisons on horses' form.
Yes.
So you pull up a horse's form, you can see all the horses that ran around, and you could go to other horses and see how they ran around.
And then they colour-coded the wins and everything.
Brilliant.
I'm
And
so
well done.
pleased. I'm so pleased
David,
to back up.
I mean,
Well
we're
done.
thrilled for you.
Yeah.
You can't believe it. And we certainly will have a spot on our show for you whenever you want to come and chat to us about the aggravation and the annoyance you've been through. Talking about annoyance, another guy really annoyed, Mark Sham.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
From
Last
Newturf Carriers.
week on our show, we spoke about how was Erasmus had put that impassioned plea about people not paying him, and he lost his license or whatever it was. I don't know the exact details, but we spoke about it last week, and we've had a lot of feedback on it. There's been people coming back and talking to us saying it's about time they spoke about the elephant in the room in racing, and that is this wonderful industry, which is going through a toughish time, has the situation where owners don't pay and don't pay timeously. Now, Mark Sham, he's had drama, and him and Dorry, his wife, is a trainer. His sons run Newturf. They're so into the industry. He's put out a questionnaire to all trainers to come forward and, don't have to name, but just to situate, have to say, well, listen, have you got guys that aren't paying?
Yeah.
And what type of amounts are we talking about?
Well, the questionnaire has got to be filled in, and even I filled one in because he sent me one of
Sure.
what was my situation when I gave up training. And what the question I have, why is he doing it? He shouldn't be doing this. This is an industry matter. It should be done by the industry.
From what I can gather, and I don't want to be quoted here, but I can gather that he's had drama taking stuff to the Jockey Club, the NHRA, and they haven't assisted him enough, and he's found himself with his debts.
Yeah.
And he said, enough's enough. I want to know what the countrywide situation's like. And it takes a quiet man, Mark, a really nice quiet man, for him to get this involved. As wild as this. If you can call Mark wild, then sure.
Well, what the point was that someone owed, and he hasn't said who it is, and I'm sure it will come out. Newturf, 28,500 rand. They took them to court. They got a judgment against them. They gave it to the Jockey Club because that's what the Jockey Club, the NHRA demands that you do that. The guy's got 10 days to reply, otherwise he gets placed on the defaulters list. Well, he didn't, okay? For one reason or another, he said that he's going to oppose a default judgment or however. What happened is that the Jockey Club twisted their rules again to suit themselves so that they didn't have to go and fight for the people in racing, which I think is wrong. And I think
just touching on it, I know we're harping on it, but you and I are both trained horses. We know what a bugbear it is not having money, because it's a vicious cycle. The only ones who get paid on time, as we said last week.
Vicious cycle or vicious circle?
Cycle. It's a cycle of things.
I thought it was a circle.
Vicious circle is the COVID.
Circle of life.
Circle of life. Vicious cycle, because you don't pay. You can't pay. It's not because they don't want to pay. They're all animal lovers. Not because they don't want to pay. And I remember one day we did a survey in Natal Trainers, James, about how many horses were owned by Natal Trainers. Now, the people who don't find these problems are obviously the people who train privately. Train for those guys. But the guys who train for openly out there, everyone had a problem. Everyone. There were no exceptions. No one guy. So a lot of guys said, no, I'm on top of it. We run a tight ship. But I've had issues where I've got bad debts. And we counted the amount of horses owned by Natal Trainers was 146. We could have our own race meeting.
But you know why? You go to the sales, you buy horses for people.
Yes.
People say they're going to take a share in the horse, okay?
Renege.
And they renege on it, and this I know is first hand, and I can give chapter and verse.
All of us, James, all of us.
All of us. And then what happens?
And then
The sales company wants their money.
Everyone wants their money. The transport company, they all come. The vet wants the scoping fees. And suddenly you get attacked from all sides by some guy who's let you down, who's a colour holder, who's with somebody else.
Exactly.
It's just, they have to address the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is, you want to own a racehorse? Pay your bills.
Yeah.
Pay your bills.
So let's move on and have a look at some of the races, because we had a fabulous day's racing at Turfentine, and I must say the track was in great shape. It had quite a lot of rain and there were concerns. It looked in great shape, and it's a great day, charity mile
Fantastic
day with Piermont as the headline sponsors. So let's go and have a look at the Starling Stakes, which was the first of the group races at Turfentine on Saturday.
To work. Second place is Lady Legend. Then comes Snow Palace the Grey. Mill Queen well placed. Swept off my feet, red sleeves and striped cap. Then comes Sidonie. She's only about 3 lengths off the leader. League of Her Own goes inwards. Further back to Cockney Pride. In between runners and towards the outsiders, Glory Days. Kayla's Champ was next. 500 metres left to go. Wisteria Walk in front by 1 length. Second place is Mill Queen. Then comes Lady Legend. Cockney Pride is making progress. Further back to Kayla's Champ. Glory Days was out after those. Then comes Sidonie. 300 metres left to go. Wisteria Walk and Mill Queen, they pulled clear of the opposition. Mill Queen is up the inside. Second place is Wisteria Walk, but she won't go away. Mill Queen got a length. Second place Wisteria Walk. Kayla's Champ back in third. Mill Queen stretching everything she's got. Wisteria Walk will not stop fighting, but Mill Queen won it. Mill Queen beat Wisteria Walk. Kayla's Champ third. Shivers ran fourth.
This is triumph for David Ebenezer, a very nice young man, and really deserves every winner he gets and many more. He prepped this filly absolutely beautifully. She hasn't run since the 27th of July. She's by Karari out of a Grey Eminence mare bred by Dr. Behans and Judy Stegeman. Well done to them. They bred a very nice horse.
Yes.
And
she's very good. The last one was in the Group 1 in Natal. Very good filly.
And Gavin Lorena, I thought, gave her a cracker.
He's a top man.
Yeah, Wisteria Walk was an unlucky horse. Went to the front from draw 14. I mean, he worked its backside off to get it there, and it only just got beaten. A very good filly. We picked her up as a horse to follow.
Another tick.
She won by 14 lengths or something on Heinrich, I think it was Heinrich's birthday. Okay.
Yeah.
I think Lucky lined it up. Good luck to him. But a good race.
Another tick for Vercingetorix.
Yeah, absolutely. We then move on to the next one, which is the 6th race, I think
This is that Empress Palace ready to run, if I'm not mistaken.
No, this is not the Empress Palace ready to run, because we don't show that, but we can talk about it, okay? Because it's a listed race, not a group race.
Yeah, that's right, of course. 1, 2, 3 for Visionaire.
Yeah.
And James, you guys were instrumental in buying this horse. Well done, this winner.
It runs in Equine Hub's colours, which I was proud enough to be able to make up for them.
Spirit of the Groove.
Yeah, and she's good, this filly.
She's very good.
She won well. Well done to Mark Young and the whole Interbit Equine Hub team.
Yes.
They've been fantastic, and if they can get this up and running, which we're still trying to do, maybe it will work.
Okay.
Right. We then move on to the Piermont Empress Palace Charity Mile. And this is always a super race. It's like a sort of forerunner to the Summer Cup. There are horses prepping, and there are a couple of horses in here. We'll pick them up after the race that you should have a very close look at for the Summer Cup. Let's go and pick them up at 800.
He's got a 2-length lead. Second place is Chimes, Zilzar well placed. Yellow sleeves and blue cap, Pilouet there outside. Then comes Tristful, they followed by Barahin, who goes towards the inside. Infamous Foxes in between runners, he's 3 lengths adrift. After them to Tilbury Fort. At their inside is Cascapedia, Campharatus and Noble Secret as they race down towards the final 500. Chimes went to take the lead. Barahin is right there. Approach control. Infamous Fox. Then comes Tristful. Zilzar towards the outside, still got 3 to make up. And up the inside is Cascapedia, 300 metres out. Barahin took the lead. Charms second. Then comes Infamous Fox further back to Cascapedia, but they have to run to beat Barahin. Barahin's a 2-length leader. Second place is Charms. It's Barahin in the lead, and Barahin is going for gold. Barahin won the Piermont Empress Palace Charity Mile. Second to Chimes. Third, either Cascapedia or Flying Winger. Tilbury Fort in the dance. Infamous Fox. Then came Zuar.
Well, I'm not sure if this was the highlight of Mike de Kock's day, but 6 winners on the day. Well done, Michael and your team. Unbelievable feat to have 6 winners on Charity Mile Day, including a couple of the big ones.
Yeah.
Give me the green light, bred by...
A beautiful baby, 2.6 million.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was just a beautiful horse.
It's under the Silvano mare.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
But James, he was just a beautiful horse. And
I'm
you know, give me the green lights. I'm always a mile to 10 furlong. They're very effective.
Yeah.
And this is very good. This shows that this horse is going to be a major
Has he been
runner.
gelded, this horse?
Beg your pardon?
Has he been gelded?
I don't
have
know.
to beg anything from me. But,
I don't know.
I thought he was gelded, but
What's it say in the book?
The blinkers
No, he's a
on.
colt
Still
in the
a
book.
colt, okay.
Yeah, he's still a colt in the book.
But masterful feat. What about the rest of them? Chimes ran a super race.
Super race.
Does he stay?
It was a good run.
Not sure. Cascapedia ran a cracking race for the mile. And Tilbury Fort, I picked him out. I thought he ran a really, really good race.
He's a good horse.
For the getting ready for the Summer Cup, which is coming around the corner in about 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
We then move on to the Graham Beck, and Mike de Kock won this one as well. Let's go and pick him up at the 800.
To be homeward bound, and Land of the Brave will bring them into the home straight. Roy Tom improved his position to race second. Magic School is back in third, and Lynn. Don't know how Callan Murray stayed on to Lynn, but she's gone for all intents and purposes because the stirrups are gone. Riverstown is racing about 5 lengths off the leader. Ballon d'Or after them to John Hancock, and Frosted Gold goes inwards further back to Eden Rock. 400 metres left to go. Magic School, Roy Tom. Then comes a tired Land of the Brave. Riverstown has now got the loose horse on my mind to worry about the loose horses everywhere. He's costing everyone as they get to the final 200, and Magic School the leader. Second place is Frosted Gold. Then comes Riverstown, Roy Tom and Eden Rock. Magic School now, she's got the loose horse, and Frosted Gold. The grey is running on strongly. Frosted Gold has won it. Second close. Riverstown involved with Magic School, and Eden Rock was...
Well, Eden Rock gave them all weight, okay?
Yeah.
He only gave a kilo to this horse. But what Craig Zaki did, which was very clever, was with the loose horse, he pulled him right out to the middle of the track to give him a clear run, this horse.
Yeah.
He didn't bother going anywhere near the loose horse. And I think that the second horse, Magic School, was a bit unlucky because I do think that the Dennis Schwartz could not ride her out properly. But it was a good race. And
Very good race. Obviously, the something went amiss with the favourite.
Yeah.
And then also Talon, you can put a line through because it pecked and he nearly fell off the young rider.
Yeah.
So those two.
Talon was unbelievable. How he stayed on that.
Yeah,
It's just ridiculous.
Just very good. Funny enough, the winner, Dave McLean's colours, and Mark said he must have run it yesterday, the New York Marathon.
Yeah, Dave McLean was running in the New York Marathon.
Wouldn't have thought so. Didn't realise what he did. So he's a runner.
He's a runner.
Like Alesh Nader's runner. He just finished. He just finished another marathon.
Yeah, he finished the Doozy's Second Street School marathon.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that's
excellent.
what it was.
Well done to both of them.
Yeah, they both finished. Frosted Gold by All Too Hard. Australian
is
bred.
half brother to Black Caviar.
Yeah, and out of a Verglass mare. He'll go on this horse. He's a very nice horse.
Okay.
Right, the show keeps on coming. The hits keep on coming from Mike de Kock. And this is probably, I think this might be one of the best fillies he's ever trained, this filly. Queen Supreme wins the Yellow Wood. Let's go and pick him up at the 800.
Bees, Rouge Allure, Second Request, and finally Secret Potion. Inline for home, 700 metres left to go. Emily J brought them in. Second place is Rabia the Rebel. Perfect Tigress was to their outside. Pretty Border. Queen Supreme has got 2 to make up, and she's got the leaders in her sights, and Cygnus won't let her get too far clear. Flying Fable, Bees is on the far inside. Further back to Ronnie's Candy and Roy's Riviera. 400 metres left to go. Some of them keeping the cards close to their chest, but Queen Supreme bounced up, took the lead. In second place is Bees. Further back, Pretty Border. Ronnie's Candy, Roy's Riviera's towards the outside. Queen Supreme needs to see it out, and she's building on her lead. Queen Supreme's gone 3 lanes clear. Bees second, Ronnie's Candy, Roy's Riviera. This is new royalty. Queen Supreme, de Kock's got 5. Queen Supreme is 1 and 1 in style. Second to Ronnie's Candy, Roy's Riviera third. Then came Bees.
Well, I love Alistair Cohen. He's got it taped. He doesn't get over the top. He just says it as it is. He tells you what's happening. The Cock 1-5, you know.
Yeah.
So that was the first.
Yeah, very good. But James, the horse, Exceeding Excel,
yeah,
this is a superstar. You know, the word on the ground, and I might be wrong, is go to Cape Town.
Yeah.
The Met being the tail end, it'll go for the Group 1 fillies. And then did you hear Mike de Kock after the race?
No.
Great to listen, because he's a bit tongue-in-cheek and he loves to have a little dig. And he said, "Where's Marcus?" He said, "We offered him Varine and this horse, but he's gone to ride a mirror-rated 77 horse with no form in Cape Town." De Kock said, "You could
Where was Marcus in Cape Town?
Cape Town." I watched Marcus's ride. He
well,
went down for one ride, ran unplaced.
Yeah. Well, just shows you he's probably just getting fit, Marcus.
Yeah, he is getting fit, but
No,
he could have got fit and wealthy.
He doesn't need the money.
That's true.
James,
the runner-up.
Spare a thought for the second horse.
Yeah,
the
the
runner-up.
runner-up. Look at the weight it's carried.
7.5 kilos it gave the winner. And she is very good, Ronnie's Candy. She really is. She's outstanding.
And Roy Woodley and Frank got a third. Welcome to them.
Which is fantastic. So it just shows you can hold our own with anyone.
Yeah.
We'll go and play them on a break. We're going to have a look at the Breeders' Cup, and we've got some wonderful races. Breeders' Cup Friday for the Future Stars, which is fantastic. They have all the juvenile races, and there was some fabulous racing.
Yeah.
Criticism, and our one criticism.
Sure.
That track was only speed biased. If you were a closer,
yes.
you had no chance.
No complete
and
speed
really,
bias.
I think it's very unfortunate when you have a race meeting like that. The dirt track was worse than the grass. The turf was firm, okay? And the dirt track, if you didn't get up in the first three, you had no chance.
A few years back, Mark de Kock went and ran second.
Yeah.
He took Kevin Shea with him, and
Yeah.
Kevin was there, and Shazy decided to put on his sweat gear and run on the Friday.
Yeah.
And just before the meeting started, the staff's boardroom got older Trevor Denman upstairs. He was called and said, "Hey, there's a guy on the track running with a Man United tracksuit over his sweat gear. Who is this guy? Get the security." He said, "Don't worry, it's Kevin Shea, the South African jockey, just running the track." They're about to have the first race. Only Shazy.
Only Shazy.
Only
Didn't know there was
Shazy.
racing on Friday.
Only
And he got
Shazy.
taken up by a whole lot of horses.
Yeah, Shazy.
Anyway, Shazy survived, luckily, because we're proud to have him on our team here. And they do a good job, those boys.
Yeah.
And just actually talking about that, I must tell you, I have a criticism. Okay?
Again?
Yeah, because that's my game.
Yeah.
I'm sitting watching, I go home to watch the last race at Greyville yesterday.
Yes.
Okay. Teletrack run a 4-horse race at Carlisle.
Okay.
Okay, and that race runs from the time before the horses leave the parade ring, okay, until they get to the start. It's
Okay.
a 4-mile chase
Yeah,
or
sure.
whatever,
Okay, got
4-horse
you.
chase.
Yes.
We got the commentary of the 4-horse chase. We can't hear. There's no commentary on the South African race. Now that race itself turns over about 20,000 rand.
Yes.
The last race at Greyville on a Sunday turns over R250,000 in a quartet.
Yes.
Surely you want to give the information to the punters out there that are sitting at home watching this instead of listening to a commentary for a 4-horse race.
No, sure. That's right. They should have split screened it and then
They
put
had
the
a
sound.
split screen.
Oh, did they put the sound
They had
in
a split
Durban?
screen, but they had no sound on Durban. So what you're doing is you're listening to the commentary, which has got the 4 horses' numbers underneath it anyway.
Yes.
So if you bat a bet there, you can see who's running first, second, third, and fourth anyway. You've got to be enticing punters to bet on your local product.
Yeah.
This is about the local product. So I've had my say.
Okay.
Maybe someone will take some notice because I know they watch the
Okay.
show.
Let's go
see
to
what's
the Breeders' Cup.
Go and see the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. This was a fabulous story. This filly drawn 12 out of 12, and the story about her we'll tell you after she's won. Let's go and see her win.
And they're up. Stormy Liberal comes out running. Oma's up close. Belvoir Bay on the far outside is now up to take the lead. Sheki Shabazz is in the firing line through the early stages. Having trouble there was Eddie Haskell, who has steadied all the way to the back of the pack. Pure Sensation is the gray, racing on the inside of Leinster, and now Final Frontier racing on the outside of that pair. Legends of War moves up to take fourth around the far turn. They're followed by Imprimis, who's 8 lengths off Belvoir Bay. Eddie Haskell now has some clear sailing, but a lot of work to do. Stubbins is next, and Totally Boss at the back of the field. Belvoir Bay turns for home with the lead, opens it up to be in front by 2 lengths. Shecky Shabazz is down on the inside of Ohm. Stormy Liberal is in between those two. Final furlong for Belvoir Bay, who's still loaded. And Belvoir Bay with a 2-length lead. They are not going to catch the mare. Belvoir Bay, who wins the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint in front-running fashion. Ohm was in a photo with Shecky Shabazz, and Stubbins came on running late for a minor award.
Well, the first thing is it's owned by Gary Barber, who's a friend of ours.
Oh, yeah, she is. That's awesome.
He owns this filly. Peter Miller is probably the best trainer of sprinters.
With Ward, with that guy Ward. That guy Ward's
Yeah,
very
Wesley
good.
Ward's 2-year-olds,
Yeah.
Peter Miller sprinters. I mean, Peter Miller's unbelievable. This filly you'll remember because she ran second in the Alcaraz sprint
Oh, in
to
Dubai.
Blue Point.
Okay,
Blue Point
Blue
beat her
Point.
in the Alcaraz sprint.
Blue Point.
So she travelled around. She's 6 years old, this mare. But the great story about her is that she was in that fire, the San Luis Rey fire, and she was injured, burnt.
Yeah,
and
they were
injured.
let
She
loose.
was 3
They were
weeks,
let loose, yeah.
3 weeks in hospital. They couldn't find her for 5 days. Okay,
That's how fast she is.
they ended up shame. You know what Peter Miller says about her? She's 900 pounds soaking wet. She's about 400 kilos soaking wet. She's a tiny little thing. And she's bred. You love this.
Equiano.
Out of a Rock of Gibraltar mare.
And Jim, what was her time?
Her time broke the course record, 54.84.
Wow.
54 seconds. They broke 55 seconds.
Whoa.
Yeah, which is incredible, okay? And 46 horses died in the San Luis Rey fire. She was one of them that was in it. And look at this little thing run. She goes on the sale. There's the Fasig-Tipton sale now this week, and she's going to get sold. But what a mare.
Yeah,
How fast was that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, wonderful for Gary Barber and them. And
Yeah.
we're going to move on and have a look at the next one. Let's see where we go from here.
The fillies are mad.
Fillies and Mares Turf. Joseph O'Brien, he trained it. He's the second trainer to train a Breeders' Cup winner who rode a Breeders' Cup winner as a jockey. You know the first one was Freddie Head.
Okay.
Freddie Head had Miesk as a trainer, I think.
Yeah,
and he
I
rode.
was thinking Wolf Shoemaker, but
No,
it's
Freddie Head's
Head.
the only other trainer that's ridden and bred. And he's Joseph O'Brien's the youngest to ride a Breeders' Cup winner, 2011 St. Nicholas Abbey. And now he's he's the youngest to train a Breeders' Cup winner, 26 years old, Joseph O'Brien. Let's go and see Iridessa win the Breeders' Cup by ruler of the world.
And they're off. And Mirth comes out running. No surprises there. Castle Lady in the Godolphin Blue, and Vasilika is up close today. Vasilika is sharing the lead as they come by the dirt and onto the main turf course. Iridessa tucks in sweetly along the inside. A gap of about 3 lengths back to Sister Charlie, and then it is Fanny Logan. Bilsden Brook is covered up at this stage, approximately 8 lengths off the lead. Via Marina is just in behind her. Just Wonderful is on the fence, in Mississippi at the back. Mirth shakes loose, opens up a 5-length lead. Vasilika will track her from second, Iridessa third, and then Castle Lady. They are in single file, separated by 10 lengths. Sister Charlie is angled a bit off the rail, then it's Bilsden Brook racing on the inside of Fanny Logan. Another 2 to an unhurried Via Marina. Just Wonderful is next, and another 2 back to Mississippi. Mirth saying, catch me if you can. Mirth is on the engine, has opened up almost 10 lengths. Vasilika galloping by herself. Another 5 back to Iridessa in third. Castle Lady and Sister Charlie are right together with Bilsden Brook in the red sleeves just behind that group. They're followed then by Fanny Logan with less than a half mile to go. Via Marina is next. Nothing yet from Just Wonderful in Mississippi. It's been all Mirth on the front end. Her lead is still 8 lengths. Vasilika asked to get after her in second. Sister Charlie coming with a 3-wide bid on the outside of Castle Lady. Iridessa is just inside of them. Then Bilsdenbrook and Fanny Logan, they're at the top of the stretch. Murph trying to steal it, still has a 3-length lead. Vasilika is chasing it. Here comes Iridessa. Iridessa storms to the front with a furlong left to go. Vasilika will fight with her. Sister Charlie is too far back. It is Iridessa just in front of Vasilika. Iridessa has won the Maker's Mark Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. Vasilika so game in defeat. And the battle for third was between Sister Charlie and Fanny Logan.
Well, the best 3 fillies in the race ran first, second, and third. Tremendous stretch duel, as they call it, between Iridessa and Vasilika. And then Sister Charlie came from off them, and you couldn't come from off them. So there was no chance of Chad Brown and John Velasquez. They got their prize later. But just talking about the fillies and mares, the dirt fillies and mares was won by the Argentine filly. And her name's Blue Prize. She's by Pure Prize.
Yes.
And she's bred by a great friend of ours, Ignacio Pavlovsky. Haras Kampranac, which is absolutely fantastic for them. She's a 6-year-old mare. She ran 22 feet further than the second horse, which was Midnight Bissau, who's the best filly in America on the dirt. And Trackus gave us that thing, 22 feet
that is so important, how far you've run. Yeah.
So she was a really worthwhile winner. Argentine, so she's trained by Ignacio Carreras, and Joe Bravo rode her. So, you know, those Argentines, they can produce them. They can still produce good horses. We produce as good as anyone, and we can't get them anywhere. That's a story for another day. Breeders' Cup Turf.
Yeah.
This is 3-year-olds and upwards, and the best horse in America won this, and I think this was the best race on Breeders' Cup Day. Let's go and pick him up at the start. Bricks and Mortar, we'll tell you about him when he's run.
And they're off in the Longines Breeders' Cup Turf. Acclimate's white blinkers go right to the front. Bandua is up close to the early stages, and so is United. Bricks and Mortar is only 3 lengths off the speed as they move down the hill. Anthony Van Dyke is racing just inside of him. The lead belongs to Acclimate, who opens up a length and a half. Bandua is in second, and then it's United in third. Channelmaker is fourth. He's on the outside of Bricks and Mortar. Arklow a bit headstrong outside of that pair. Old Persian is next, followed by Anthony Van Dyke, who's down on the inside, approximately 6 lengths off the lead as they get to the main course. Mount Everest, and the white cap is down on the inside. Alunak with the pink sleeves is there as well. Old Persian having to steady just a bit. He's on the inside still of Arklow. It's another 2 back to Channel Cat, and Zulu Alpha's at the back of the field. They have a mile left to go in the Longines Breeders' Cup Turf, and the pace setter is Acclimate. He's in front by a length to Bandua, who's racing in second. United third. Bricks and Mortar racing in between horses, and Channelmaker is just outside of him. This group is followed by Anthony Van Dyke, Alunak next to him, Old Persian, a 4-wide Arklow, another length back to Channel Cat, who's 8 lengths off the speed, and Zulu Alpha biding his time at the back of the field. Acclimate, almost 2 lengths in front, making their way onto the backstretch with Bandua in second. Then comes Channelmaker inching up outside of United. Bricks and Mortar is still in hand while racing in traffic a bit. Arklow is just outside of him. Then it's Old Persian and Anthony Van Dyke still right together. Alunak is next, about 7 or 8 lengths off the speed. Channel Cat inches up just a touch outside of him. Down at the rail, Mount Everest is second to last, and Zulu Alpha is asked to run now. Around the far turn, Acclimate, Bandua, they've been 1-2. Bandua's now on even terms with him. Then it's United in third. Channelmaker is in fourth. Anthony Van Dyke coming through on the inside. Arklow is 4 wide. Bricks and Mortar has 4 lengths to make up. Alunak on the fence. Bricks and Mortar now gets a seam, and he's going to be cut loose with a furlong left to go. Here comes Bricks and Mortar on the outside, and he is finishing with a flourish. Bricks and Mortar storms to the front. United running a giant race, but it's Bricks and Mortar bringing his brilliance to the biggest stage to win the Longines Breeders' Cup Turf. Second went to United.
Well, there you go. And the Investec Derby winner ran third, Anthony van Dyke. We thought that he might have got a little trouble in the straight, but this horse came from behind him and beat him. And I mean, this was the performance of the Breeders' Cup. He's a fabulous horse. He's won 11 out of 13 starts. He's won 7 in a row this year, 5 Group 1s. And he's bred by George Strawbridge. He's trained by Chad Brown, Chumpy Brown. But the most important part about this is that the Japanese started their rise to ascendancy in the breeding world by buying Sunday Silence. That was many, many, many years ago. And everyone said, oh, well, they bought Sunday Silence. Wasn't a big loss. It was a huge loss. Now, the Japanese have bought this horse. In fact, they bought him long before this race. And he's going to Shadow Farm in Japan. And I'm going to tell you, this will be a huge addition to
Not
them.
a big horse, but a great horse.
No, he's a very, very good horse indeed. He's by Giant's Causeway, the Iron Horse.
Iron Horse.
And he's got to be a big plus. Giant's Causeway ran first and second, funnily enough. United ran second, as by Giant's Causeway as well. And we then move on to a big one for the
Classic.
Americans, which is the Breeders' Cup Classic. So we're going to have a look on the dirt. This is a top ride, top horse as well. But I think that the gloss was wall with bricks and mortar. Let's go and see.
And they're off in the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. McKenzie comes out running. So does War of Will, who takes the lead and will try to cross over. Owendale is up close, so is Seeking the Soul on the inside. Now Mongolian Groom joins the fray, and Mongolian Groom puts his head in front. Vino Rosso is prominent in the early stages. The mare Elate is racing 3 off the rail and approximately 4 lengths off the lead. Higher Power is just outside of her. 2.5 more to Code of Honor, who's on the outside of Yoshida, and Math Wizard is at the back of the field. War of Will set the pace, and he opens up 2 lengths. McKenzie a joint second inside of Mongolian Groom. They're followed by Seeking the Soul, who's down at the rail. Owendale between rivals. Vino Rosso is 3 wide, 5 lengths off the lead. Higher Power is next, followed by Elate. Yoshida having to steady ever so slightly, and he is now about 10 lengths or so off the pace. Elate is 2.5 lengths in front of him, and so is Code of Honor. Another 3 back to Math Wizard, who trails. Less than 5/8 of a mile to go in the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic, and it's Tyler Gaffleone and War of Will dictating the terms. McKenzie is in second, just in front of Mongolian Groom. Now it's 4 more lengths back to Vino Rosso as they pass the half-mile pole. Higher Power is next. He's on the outside of Owendale, who's asked for a bit more. At the rail, Seeking the Soul. Code of Honor is starting to run now. He's looking for a seam and finding it in between horses as War of Will has now lost the lead. Yoshida is at the back of the field, more than a dozen off the pace. Elate is dropping out of it, and then Math Wizard as McKenzie has taken the lead at the top of the stretch. And Vino Rosso is coming to challenge. Mongolian Groom is third, then Higher Power and War of Will. They're at the top of the stretch. Joel Rosario has done his job. It's up to McKenzie, and Vino Rosso is right to him on the outside. Vino Rosso has taken the lead, and he powers away under Iran Ortiz Jr. Vino Rosso, like father, like son. The son of Carlin romps in the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. McKenzie was clearly second best. Then it was Higher Power, and a belated rally came from...
Well, this horse, Vino Rosso, had the Jockey Club Gold Cup taken away from him in the inquiry room. But he put everything right here.
Yeah, he put Code of Honor to bed here.
Yeah, put Code of Honor and the rest of them to bed. McKenzie, Higher Power, good field, good race, and what can you say? Irad Ortiz, the
$6 million, eh?
Irad Ortiz, the jockey. Well, he's was the top jockey of the meet. The interesting thing is that John Guntner bred this horse. Okay, you know who John Guntner is. He bred Justify as well.
Oh, did he? Eh?
Yeah,
Okay.
He's a very, very good breeder.
Yes.
Vino Rosa. Anyway, Todd Fletcher trained it by Curlin out of a street crime mare. Isn't that amazing? And it's going to Spendthrift. That's where he's going to go to stud. So that's the effort for today, and we're going to just chat about the Melbourne Cup quickly because.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah,
That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning, I'm sure it's on Teletrack.
Yes.
And hopefully we get a bit of build-up to get to
yeah.
see all the horses. Billy and Brahm are going to be
Billy
there.
and Brahm are going to share in a horse,
Yeah.
and I hope it wins for them.
Oh, it would be fantastic. Can you
Yeah.
imagine if this horse won for them?
It's always a tough race, and James, we've been saying for a long time the Aussies breed to speed is they'll come up short again.
Well, there are only 2 Australian-bred horses in the field.
There you go.
Yeah. Cross Counter, he goes to try and win his second.
He's a very good horse.
If you want my ideas of what might be the winner, I think Constantinople with Jose Moreira. João Moreira is going to ride that. It's trained by the Danbury partnership.
Okay.
You know, so that's got to have a chance. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. It should be fun.
I'll be up watching it.
We'll all be up there watching it, having a lovely time, and we'll talk about it next week and have it on the show. But we're going to listen to what Ted Hughes has got to say. Remember, please subscribe to the show.
Costs nothing.
It's very important. We need as many subscribers as possible. And on top of that, you'll get every day's information. And there's going to be shows put up every day. It's not only going to be Winning Ways, it's going to be a show every day. We're going to talk about things that need to be talked about in the industry, and we'll talk about things that don't need to be talked about in the industry. So enjoy yourselves. Have a good listen to Ted Hughes. You'll enjoy him. Well, you only got part of the story last week. We're chatting to Ted Hughes about everything to do with racing. And last week you were telling us about how you got here. It's a fascinating story of a man's life who had absolutely nothing to do with horses, suddenly gets gripped by the horse fever. And once it's with you, Ted, it's not easy to get away, is it?
No. I suppose I can understand what a drug addict goes through, who's addicted to cocaine or heroin. Because no, seriously, with horses, they're such a wonderful animal. The people involved are fantastic as well. You know, we've got such wonderful people in the racing game. We've also got the periphery where, thank God, we've got where we can pass on horses for their second career, whether it's polo or show jumping or showing or dressage. So yeah, all those people are so important to the industry.
Okay, so we now got to your sort of formative years, and you then did a bit of decathlon, pentathlon, one of those sports.
Pentathlon, yeah.
Pentathlon. So that included the horse sports.
Yeah, there's running, riding, swimming, fencing, and shooting.
Yeah.
So
you're good at all of them.
No, but I got through. Well, we decided after summer exams we'd try it just for fun. My best friend at school was the European épée and foil champion. Another chap, James Blair, was destined for the Olympics, they thought, in swimming. I was the best rider. So we had 3 sports where we were pretty well covered. We actually went as a practice to the British Triathlon Championships, which was swimming, riding and running. And we won that hands down. And then we decided, well, let's go for the big league, for the under-21 British Championships, of which we had no right to be there really, apart from our individual prowess at the 3 sports. And yeah, we came 5th as a team amongst, I don't know how many teams competed, there were a lot. And it's a very big event. And
That's damn good.
well, we were very happy because being 3 rank amateurs amongst guys, I mean, the junior leaders, for example, in the army, that's all they do is train at those 5 sports, day in, day out. And we just took it up. And the 2 chaps in the team with me had never been on a horse until 10 days before the event. And one of the fences in the riding event was a concrete pipe that was over 1 metre in diameter. And that's a formidable fence because you've got no guideline at the bottom to take off. And these guys jumped it. Noddy Hewitt, the fencing champion, he got run away with between the second and the last. And I hadn't actually told him, because I never thought about it happening, but he got run away with. And he just turned the horse in ever decreasing circles until he could take control. And then he jumped the last. So it cost him a few seconds, but he had the wherewithal to do it. So it was brilliant.
Amazing. So then, okay, your schooling years were paid for by the some Arab prince. That's lucky for you. University?
No, Wasn't bright enough to go.
Okay, so now you've come out of school, you love horses, what are you going to do?
Well, I was offered a team place, a team called Maidens Grove at Cowdrey, because we'd beaten them twice that summer, once at home and once away. And then Charles Sturdy at Shrewton in Wiltshire, he trained something like 200 horses. He had, I don't even remember, Barbary Pirate.
Yeah, Barbary Pirate. Yeah.
As his stallion there.
Yeah.
And, but I was just a normal lad who, had no money, but desperate to get on in it. So I went to work for Ford, and I spent a year there dressed in a nice suit every day, suit and tie, junior manager. Yeah. And then I was talking to one of the cleaners one day who used the power wash to power wash the cars off before they were sold. And I said to him, well, I've got champagne tastes on mild beer money. And he said, well, you must buy a truck. And I said, oh, how am I going to get a truck, So anyway, I was chatting to my dad, and I only found out after my father died that he actually put his house up against my first truck. So the first month I spent working at Ford all day and driving a truck all night, because there was a 7-year contract with a company called Foster Yeoman in Somerset, and they needed as many vehicles as possible. The Somerset levels, as they call the moors, they're like a sponge. So they had to be weighed down by millions and millions of tons of rock in order to build the motorway freeway. And so initially, for several years, it was supplying the rock fill to the freeway site. And then after that, of course, we had the tarmac to go as well.
So you're transporting rock at night?
Yes, just for the first month.
With your truck?
Yeah. And
then you grew that trucking business, obviously. How did that go?
It went very well till I was about 26 or 7, and I got divorced, and then I lost everything. And
happens to the best of us,
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of guys have been through it. I was far too young to get married. Yeah. But anyway, lovely girl. Glad she's had a good life, etc. And I was left literally with nothing. Not a place to put my head. My parents bought my farm off me, and I was left with an old minivan we used to pick up spares for the trucks with. And a friend of mine who worked for Ready Mix Concrete came to me one day and he said, listen, I don't want to insult you. You've been a truck owner having 6 trucks. He said, I'm desperate for a driver. We've got this contract job and one of the drivers can't make it. I said, Dave, just tell me where it is. So that started me. And after 2 or 3 months, the manager came to me and he said, they've got a brand new 24-ton 6-wheeler sitting at head office and it's got my name penciled in it. I said, Philip, I couldn't even afford the pen to write the contract. He said, no, I'm going to lend you my pen. The company will lend you the deposit. And by the grace of God, that got me back on my feet again. And we had the contract, funnily enough, for the concrete with Ready Mix Southwest for both freeways, which I'd been involved with on the rockfill and the tarmac. And they were doing all the bridges, the culverts, etc. So it was flat out, and the money was very good. And they looked after us very well. And so, yeah. No.
Okay, so now you got this flourishing business. How do you end up in South Africa?
I met a South African girl in England. Like so
Another
many
woman,
people,
eh?
Yeah. And
so you get married and you decide you're going to come out and live in South Africa.
Yeah, so I've been here ever since. That's it.
And then trucking's your business, so you started a trucking business.
Yeah, I actually worked for United Transport, which is now Unitrans,
yes,
for 3 years, because obviously to come into a fresh country, strange country, and not know what the licensing systems are, etc. Because in Europe, we ran under operators licensing, which is incredibly strict. And you have any strikes against you with bad maintenance or anything, you lose your license.
Yeah.
And you try and run trucks, you go to jail. In this country, it's if you've got enough money to buy a truck or put a deposit down, you get a guy to drive it and you're a trucker. And it's shocking. When we see the bad maintenance, etc. I was at a recent function and they said, no, we recommend all trailers are serviced at least every 4 months. And my son-in-law who works for me, we looked at each other and ours are done weekly. Every weekend our trailers are serviced. You know, well, I won't say never because we'll probably have a rash of them, but normally we don't get any breakdowns at all. And it's very important because as you've seen on the news and on YouTube clips, Once you break down, the cargo is fair game.
Yeah, they just
People come
take
from miles around in Bucky's cars, etc., and just steal whatever the load is.
Yeah.
We had a truck, the top slashed open the other day. 4 containers of salt were stolen. Well, thank God it wasn't whiskey. But, you know, so anything.
They even steal salt.
Salt, can you believe it? I suppose it's a basic commodity.
Ted, how many trucks have you got today?
We've only got 11. We had
11 trucks is a lot of trucks.
Well, we had 13, but we had severe labour problems earlier on in the year, you know. And I've always believed in paying people well, so we don't pay anybody on hours or trips. I pay a salary, and I pay the highest salary in the country.
Yeah.
But we had assistants, as they called, to put the tarpaulins on, take them off, make sure the driver gets enough rest. And these fellows work 9 hours a week on average, and they joined a union to try and force us into paying them 15,000 take home, which means the gross would be over 20,000. Well, what you and your
There's
partner,
a trouble with South Africa, isn't it? There's a growing problem as far as paying labour is concerned.
well, you know, I did basic economics for, earlier in my life, and 2 things that happen when there's a downswing in the economy is betting shops and pubs do well. And the other thing is that in countries of high unemployment, the wages are very bad. And in countries of high employment, the wages are high. And if we look at it, I was talking to my domestic the other day. She's always been, forgive me to talk about this on air, but she's always been proud of her 19-year-old daughter in Standard 9 who's a virgin. She's now pregnant with twins. And, you know, it's crazy. We've got 90,000 school children in South Africa got pregnant, underage school children I'm talking about. They're multiplied up by, I think it's 480 Rand a month for each child, times 12 for a year, and times 18 for the number of years we as taxpayers are responsible. Is it any wonder the government have got a problem? We've got to cut the birth rate. And going back to horses, the national foal births was something like 3,500 down to 3. Now we're down to 2,500. They talk about maybe only 2,000 this year. And so that's,
This is a big problem, and you as now head of a breeders' club must have some ideas.
we're looking for ideas. Have you got any? But no, it's seriously. It's we've seen the downswing in the prize money both here and in Phumelela. And I'm worried that it's going to force a lot of the smaller owners out of the game. Guys who are passionate about it, but they just say, look, I can justify it, we get some return out of the horses, but if there's nothing coming or very little, I believe Mike de Kock is pushing to get up to 10 places played.
Yeah, that's in Phumelela, in the Phumelela regions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, of course, the prize money is never going to increase at the moment, so it's going to be less and less. So the winner will get far less, the second, third, to compensate the guys who come in 10th place. As an owner, that'd be wonderful, because I don't have all that many competitive horses.
Yeah.
We hope we've
Well,
got
what
a few coming
happened?
through.
Well, basically, the prize money, instead of 65% to the winner, which it was 58% to the winner now, and down a scale where the 6th to 10th get 1,000 Rand each. I suppose they're trying to cut their cloth to suit their budget. But the problem is that, as I see it, and this is where we have people like you on the show, is that it's a never-ending spiral downwards. It's got to be halted. And there's only one way I can see it being halted, and that is to cut everyone else's cloth to fit the budget too. You can't have people sitting in high places on big spends, on big salaries, that just don't justify it. I don't know how you guys see it. You're a businessman. How would you change racing to make it work? Because it's not working at the moment.
The trouble is, it's still seen as an elitist sport. I would love to see more ordinary business guys getting involved who've got good ideas, etc. But I don't know the ins and outs of Phumelela. But here in Natal, we're trying quite hard to change things. It's the most successful of the provinces, Gold Circle, with the hierarchy we've got in place. They do an incredible job. And it is incredibly difficult out there. You know, businesses in general are not doing well. You know, to have the labour problems we've got, where everybody's demanding more and more money. We've got the taxis the other day in Cape Town parking off and just saying, no, these fines for driving in the yellow line, for driving without a PDP. Hang on, that's breaking the law. No. So if everybody obeys the law, it's, you know, my dad used to say to me that manners are what makes the world go round. You know, you hold the door open for a lady, you doff your hat to somebody, it really makes them feel good that you've taken the trouble to actually do something for them. Yeah. Tiny thing, but it really does. And I think if we could see the hierarchy actually cutting their cloth, then I think that would be a huge step in the right direction. But to be taking it away from the people who put the money into the game, because of course without the owners going into the game, you don't have racing, unless you're going to go into the state-owning horses, which I don't think they're ever going to do. You know?
What is interesting is that if you take a 20-year historical look at the two companies that run racing in South Africa, the one company I don't think has made one capital improvement to their business. By that I mean improvement to improve racing. And the other company has made many capital improvements from the money that they both got from selling assets. That's basically how they got their money. If you look at Gold Circle, they put in the Polytrack, which is a huge plus to their running their operation. They put in these 500 stables at Summerveld. Those are two of the things that they've done. They put in a beautiful view room. It seems indicative of this industry that no one is a forward thinker. How would you see that?
The main thing is to get people back to the track.
Is that ever able to be done, Ted? Why would people want to come to the track?
Do you know, it used to feel good about going racing. You know, you'd go for a meal, you'd watch the racing, you'd see your friends there, and you know what National Hunt is like in UK. I mean, very, very few people would ever expect to make money out of National Hunt racing, but it's a way of life. And of course, it's not a way of life to the average punter.
South Africans don't give a damn about horse racing. It's not like Australia where...
It used to be, James.
I don't know. There was a select bunch of people who were horse racing fans. And I think that what's happened over the years, those have eroded to be less and less and less. Whereas a place like Australia, they're all mad gamblers. They're all given the chance of gambling. They're all given the chance of owning a share in a horse and being involved. It's big. England is what fascinates me because they've turned around, those little race courses have turned around their attendances from 10, 15 years ago, where they weren't very good, to now the tracks like Weatherby on a Friday, they have a big turnout, you know. These are little places where there used to be like us, a couple of hundred. Do we have the populace that is interested enough to actually come to a racetrack? What is the advantage? I walk onto the racetrack and I think to myself, if I didn't know anything about this business, what would I want to be doing here?
I think that's a very salient point. Only people like ourselves and multiple others have this passion for coming here and enjoying it.
We love the horses.
You know, it's like I'm giving an example years ago at Clearwood. I always came second. Doug White, who is now in Hong Kong so successfully, begged me to ride a horse in a mile. And I said, I think she's better over 1800. And he convinced me to run her over the mile. But it was against colts. And she was sandwiched between two colts. And she lost by a short head, and the other horse was a short head away. And in the second box, gave her a big hug. And one of the punters going by said, hey, Mr. Hughes, how can you treat your horse like that? She just came second. I said, yeah, but did you see how she tried? And she did. She put everything into it. And he said, hey, you know, I couldn't do that. And he said, I lost 5,000 on your horse. Well, I said, that's a lot of money you put on. No, that's what I would have won if she'd won. And I said, well, I lost 15,000. Hey, you punt heavy, eh? I said, no, that's the difference between first and second. I would have loved to have come first.
You don't bet, do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No.
Does it change your perception?
In what respect?
To horse racing? Not being a punter?
No, I mean, I never have been a punter. Well, I'll give you a quick story from my youth when I was riding, and it was the first race of the season. I'd been really badly smashed up on the mare I was riding the year before, and there's a chap called Ronnie Hodges who turned out to be a hell of a good trainer in England, and Ronnie was a brilliant amateur rider, and I was a schoolboy. The guy who owned the race course, or his father owned the race course, Philip Green, he and I were sitting changing together, and Ronnie came in. He said, "Listen, this mare I'm on cannot be beaten. I need you two to set a hell of a pace." So I said, "Well, look, I'm only doing a circuit. That's what my instructions are. Get her to jump so she knows she can jump." And Philip said, "Oh, mine's not fit, so I'll go with Ted." So the two of us went lickety-split. The field of 25 horses was spread over about 3 fences in the end, and we can hardly see because early in February, the steam is coming off the horses. And we're hacking back to the lorry park, and we see Ronnie. He's now almost a fence in front. Now, the three of us, between us, we were all schoolboys. I think Ronnie was still at school at the time. And we managed to scrape together, I think it was £5 somehow. And anyway, she was 25 to 1. We're millionaires suddenly. And as they come over the last fence, which was a drop fence, this mare was so tired, going with her eyes closed. Ronnie shook her up and put in a huge leap and jumped to the left, but unfortunately Ronnie went straight. So they parted company in midair. And then...
And your £5 went down the drain.
And then,
so that taught you?
Well, then 6 weeks later, I'm on my best horse, which actually belonged to my headmaster, and he'd entered him in the National for me, so I could get the thrill of a ride in the National.
Yeah.
And anyway, he called me into his study, he told me this, and I was, you can imagine, I was over the moon as an amateur rider, schoolboy. Anyway, we were in this race, his 101st race. He'd won 12, been placed in 35, never fallen once, great horse. And there was, I think it was the first race that lady riders were allowed in. And there was a lady riding a horse by the name of Darnick Tower, was favourite, and we were second favourite. I thought, no, we've got this race in the bag. Took him for his pipe opener early in the morning, and the head groom said to me when I got back, "What do you think?" And I said, "Oh, if you've got a house, Jim, sell it, put the money down." And I was that confident. And we went round on the 1.5 circuits on this course, and the back straight had about 7 fences. So I dropped him in at third of horse because he kept jumping to the front all the time, and I didn't want, because he was a 2-miler running over 3.5 miles. And when we got to the end of the straight, I tapped him on the shoulder, said, "Come on, boy, let's go and get that prize money." And he accelerated around the corner, and suddenly there was this horrendous bang, like a shotgun going off. And his off 4 was coming up to the side. The worst moment of my life. And obviously we had to put him down on the course, etc. But yes, sorry, the point of the story was I'd managed to scrape together another £5, so that cured me of gambling. The 2 dead certs.
Today you own a couple of horses, we see your colours, you breed a couple. You love the sport.
I do.
And your trucking business affords you...
That's very tough at the moment, yes.
But it is expensive, Ted,
yeah.
isn't it? I mean, as an owner, to own horses on your own, which you do, and you must have half a dozen horses in training, that's a lot of money.
My wife is in it because of me.
Yeah.
She loves me very much, and I love her very much. And so some of the horses run in her name, some in my name.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of fun and a bit of rivalry in the family, so to speak. The mares, I bought Golden Sword a couple of years ago. He was totally non-commercial, but I like him, and I still think he'll produce me a champion at some stage.
You're a passionate man. I'll give you one bit of advice. Rather let Golden Sword hang around and send your mares to someone where you've got a
Well,
chance.
I don't breed commercially, I breed for myself, you know. So, but I keep them all up at Yellow Star, and they look after me very well up there.
You have a good relationship with them, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes.
Kurs and Lorraine. Yeah.
You know, Kurs is a very quiet, humble man, but he's incredibly passionate. He wants to see racing succeed, etc. And they're very low-key in many, many respects. And they're not the commercial stud like some of the other studs in Natal who are extremely commercial, etc. And very successful too, I might add, you know.
Yeah.
So, and it's wonderful to have those people, particularly the directors of KZN Breeders. They're all very passionate breeders.
Well, we want to wish you all the very best with them. We wish you your Group 1 winner with Golden Sword.
Yeah, well,
and
here's hoping.
Fantastic having you at the helm of the KZN Breeders. And Ted, wonderful having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, James. It's been fun.
Ted Hughes, there's a man that you should listen to. He's passionate about the business. He's been brought up the hard way. He knows that every rand he earns and puts into horses is mostly not going to get him much of a return. But he really loves what he does. We wish him the very best. Till next week, have a great week's racing.